FEAC Institute. This afternoon is more of a shift in our program to the FEAC Symposium, and we're going to start off. Well, wait a minute. Let me get to the end punchline here first, okay? At 4:30 today, as an incentive for you to stay and listen to all the good, great programs and other things we have, at 4:30 we're going to have a social networking session here with some libations. So if you hang around, and it's courtesy of the FEAC Institute and DGI, so if you hang around till the end, you get the benefits of the libations. So, and the good camaraderie and the social networking, and not that distant, computerized, impersonal texting online, but face-to-face, you know, commune with your fellow architects. Is there anything better? I don't know. It's like, to me, that's like from God. Talking architecture with your warm face. Many of you I have talked about it. Anyway, so at hand is something we do every year at this symposium, and has become quite important to us, particularly the faculty of the FEAC Institute. We very much emphasize the project-based aspect of our program, in that every certified architect who leaves our program has proven that they can do enterprise architecture by having done one. That's the infamous Practicum projects. Those of you who are wearing the little certification bars here know exactly what I'm talking about in the context of the torture you have to go through, that we, the faculty, put you through in order to do this enterprise architecture. But it is it's a hallmark of the FEAC Institute. We're quite proud of it. So about 3 symposiums ago, we instituted a new facet to our Practicum projects, in that we keep track of them throughout the year, and then we nominate the better Practicums for what we now refer to as the Practicum Awards. And so we basically have different categories of Practicum Awards. We also have some special recognition awards that we're going to give today to a couple of people who have contributed to federal enterprise architecture. And without greater ado, Felix Rausch is the director of the FEAC Institute, and he's going to come and give these awards. So, and I'll be back to MC the other presentations coming up.
Welcome to all of you, including all of the certified enterprise architects and faculty and awardees. I'm the executive director of the FEAC Institute, and it's my distinct privilege and honor to give out the FEAC Practicum Awards. Because the Alumni Symposium is being held earlier than last year, these awards are for the 2009 fall and winter 2009-10 programs. The FEAC Practicum is a project completed during a 10-week certification program, 2 weeks in class, that partially fulfills the requirements for the certification, and the student joins the ranks of the CEAs. This year, the faculty adopted a rubric to evaluate the projects. This involved the following criteria. It must be a real project. The approach and technique should be how well were the techniques taught in class required or applied. And then third, how was the presentation? And fourth, findings and recommendations, how clear and succinct were they? Each one is especially memorable because of the way in which each team tackled their practica. The level and amount of work done in a short time and the quality of the products. Both Practicum projects of the ones that we give out are stellar examples of great work and reflect highly on both the FEAC Institute's program and the certified enterprise architects that created them. Their sponsoring organization can also be proud of them. When I call your project title and names, please come down and receive your awards, and then we'll take some pictures. The winners of the Fall 2009, Winter 2010 DODAF Best Practicum Award is the Autonomous Survey of Literal Threats System, ASLTS, and the team members were Stephen Everard, Don Runyon from Northrop Grumman, Stephen Everard from EG&G, and Walter Kulikowski from Kinetic North America. Will you please come up? The winner of the Fall 2009-2010 FEAC Commercial Best Practicum Award is Kadara, Communication and Data Restoration Recovery Architecture. Keith Swearingen from NASA Huntsville, Ken Ferris from NASA Huntsville, Bert Bright from NASA Huntsville, and Jay Bellman Independent. Those folks are going to give us a 2-minute presentation of what the project consisted of.
Good afternoon, everyone. We've been asked to give you a short presentation of our practicum. We're very proud of this. This is a real-world instance that we are currently working at NASA. It's focused at the Marshall Space Flight Center. And basically what it looks at, this came from the hurricane that happened down in the Louisiana area, where we tried to develop capabilities to restore communications and data for our space missions and keep a center up and running. Our team. And basically what it was doing, we're trying to, a disaster occurs at a NASA facility. How do we mobilize equipment and keep that facility up and running to a certain extent where we can maintain operations and critical communications and restore data that is necessary for those missions that are currently up in flight. So see, here are some of the areas that we looked at, which was to define a complementary architecture that would fit within the current NASA architecture that we're currently working on right now, and ensure that architecture integrates with the existing enterprise architecture initiative that's ongoing within NASA as well. Additionally, what we want to be able to do is take this architecture and move it out across the NASA agency as a whole. Right now, this capability currently exists between Marshall Space Flight Center and the Michoud Assembly Facility, which is where we build the external tanks for the shuttle. This came out of the fact that when the hurricane hit down in Louisiana and New Orleans, we developed 2 vehicles which are unique within the agency: the Communications Restoration Recovery Vehicle, the CRR, and the Data Restoration Recovery. Both those vehicles have the capability to restore limited but critical communications for facilities in terms of internet, phone, and other secure communications between other government agencies such as the FBI and such. So these vehicles get deployed on an as-needed basis down to a particular center at any given time. I think most everybody has seen this. We put a lot of time into this. I won't go through this, but this is how we looked at the connectivity associated with the business of the cadre. Now this was something interesting. What we did was, we're pretty proud of this. We traveled to the county of LA and spoke with the emergency management team out in Los Angeles County, and actually came up. They were very excited to see what we had. We were excited to see what their capabilities were. And in doing so, we're currently looking at trying to establish long-distance communications should they have an outage of communications or data capability. And we would actually work that through Marshall Space Flight Center located in Huntsville, but do it long distance for the county. And that was something that what was really interesting is they asked if we could do that. We had never thought of that capability of actually being able to deploy this architecture in a remote fashion rather than having to be on site. And so as a result of that, we're still developing the capabilities here and hope to get this implemented throughout the agency in the very near future. So thank you very much.